top 25 PwC interview questions and answers. PwC is one of the world's leading professional services firms, known for audit, tax, consulting, advisory, risk, technology, and business transformation services. A PwC interview usually tests more than technical knowledge. Interviewers want to see how you solve problems, communicate with clients, handle pressure, work in teams, and show professionalism. Whether you are applying for an internship, graduate role, associate position, consultant role, audit role, tax role, or experienced professional position, preparation is very important. These PwC interview questions and answers will help you understand what employers may ask and how to answer with confidence. 1. Why do you want to work at PwC? I want to work at PwC because it offers the opportunity to learn from experienced professionals, work with respected clients, and develop strong business, analytical, and communication skills. PwC has a strong reputation for quality, integrity, and professional development, which matches the kind of environment I am looking for. I am also interested in how PwC helps clients solve complex business problems through audit, consulting, tax, technology, and advisory services. I believe this role would allow me to grow, contribute, and build a meaningful long-term career. 2. What do you know about PwC? PwC is one of the Big Four professional services firms, providing services in areas such as assurance, tax, consulting, risk, deals, and advisory. The firm works with clients from many industries, including finance, healthcare, technology, energy, retail, and government. PwC is known for helping organizations improve performance, manage risk, follow regulations, and make better business decisions. I also understand that PwC values teamwork, trust, quality, and continuous learning. This is why I see PwC as a strong place to build professional experience and develop industry knowledge. 3. How would you handle working with a difficult client? If I were working with a difficult client, I would first stay professional and calm. I would listen carefully to understand their concerns instead of reacting emotionally. Many client issues happen because of unclear expectations, pressure, or miscommunication, so I would ask clear questions and confirm what they need. I would also keep my manager informed and make sure my responses are accurate and respectful. My goal would be to protect the relationship, solve the issue, and still maintain PwC's standards for quality and professionalism. 4. How do you manage tight deadlines? When managing tight deadlines, I focus on organization, prioritization, and communication. First, I break the work into smaller tasks and identify what needs to be completed first. Then I estimate how much time each task will take and avoid spending too long on low-priority details. If I see a risk of delay, I communicate early instead of waiting until the last moment. I also stay focused and reduce distractions. In a fast-paced environment like PwC, I understand that meeting deadlines while maintaining quality is very important. 5. Tell me about a time you worked in a team. In a previous project, I worked with a team where each person had different responsibilities and working styles. At first, progress was slow because communication was not clear. I suggested that we divide the project into sections, set deadlines, and have short check-ins to track progress. This helped everyone understand their role and reduced confusion. I also supported teammates when they needed help and made sure my part was completed on time. The project was successful because we stayed organized, communicated openly, and worked toward the same goal. 6. How would you handle a mistake in your work? If I discovered a mistake in my work, I would take responsibility immediately. I would first understand what went wrong, check the impact of the mistake, and correct it as quickly as possible. If the mistake affected other work or a client deliverable, I would inform the appropriate team member or manager instead of hiding it. I believe honesty is very important in professional services. I would also learn from the mistake by improving my review process so the same issue does not happen again. 7. How do you prioritize multiple tasks? I prioritize multiple tasks by looking at deadlines, importance, business impact, and dependency on other team members. I usually list all tasks, identify urgent items, and complete high-impact work first. If two tasks are equally important, I ask for clarification from my manager to make sure I am focusing on the right priority. I also keep track of progress and avoid leaving things until the last moment. In a firm like PwC, where many projects can move quickly, strong prioritization helps maintain quality and reliability. 8. Why should PwC hire you? PwC should hire me because I bring a strong combination of professionalism, willingness to learn, problem-solving ability, and teamwork. I understand that PwC needs people who can work accurately, communicate clearly, and adapt to different clients and projects. I am serious about delivering quality work and improving continuously. I may not know everything on day one, but I am confident in my ability to learn quickly, ask the right questions, and contribute positively to the team. I would treat this opportunity with responsibility and commitment. 9. How do you handle feedback? I handle feedback positively because I see it as a way to improve. If someone gives me feedback, I listen carefully without becoming defensive. I ask questions if I need clarification, then I think about how I can apply it in my work. I believe feedback is especially important in a professional services firm like PwC, where quality and client expectations are high. Even if feedback is critical, I try to treat it as useful guidance. My goal is always to become better and more reliable. 10. Describe your problem-solving approach. My problem-solving approach starts with understanding the issue clearly. I do not like jumping to conclusions without enough information. First, I identify the main problem, gather relevant facts, and separate symptoms from root causes. Then I consider possible solutions, compare risks and benefits, and choose the most practical option. If needed, I involve others for advice or approval. After implementing the solution, I review the result to see if it worked. This structured approach helps me solve problems calmly and professionally. 11. How do you deal with pressure at work? I deal with pressure by staying organized and focusing on what I can control. When the workload is high, I break tasks into smaller steps and complete them one by one. I avoid panic because it can lead to mistakes. I also communicate clearly if priorities need to be adjusted or if there is a risk of missing a deadline. Pressure is common in client-focused work, especially during busy periods, but I believe preparation, focus, and teamwork can help manage it effectively. 12. What are your strengths? My strengths include attention to detail, communication, reliability, and the ability to learn quickly. I try to make sure my work is accurate before submitting it, because small mistakes can create bigger issues later. I also communicate clearly with team members and ask questions when something is unclear. Another strength is that I take ownership of my responsibilities. If I am given a task, I make sure it is completed properly and on time. These strengths would help me succeed in a PwC role. 13. What is your weakness? One weakness I have worked on is sometimes spending too much time checking details because I want the work to be correct. While attention to detail is important, I have learned that efficiency also matters. To improve, I now set time limits for review, use checklists, and focus on the most important risks first. This helps me maintain accuracy without slowing down the overall process. I believe this improvement is important in a company like PwC, where both quality and deadlines matter. 14. How would you explain a complex idea to a client? If I needed to explain a complex idea to a client, I would first understand their level of knowledge and what they actually need to know. Then I would avoid unnecessary technical language and explain the idea in simple, practical terms. I might use examples, visuals, or comparisons to make the point clearer. I would also pause to check whether they understand and invite questions. Good communication is not just about knowing the information, it is about helping the client understand it confidently. 15. How do you ensure accuracy in your work? I ensure accuracy by following a careful and structured process. First, I make sure I understand the task and requirements clearly. Then I work step by step instead of rushing. I review figures, documents, assumptions, and formatting before submitting anything. If the work involves data, I check formulas, sources, and consistency. I also use checklists when appropriate. If something seems unclear, I ask questions rather than guessing. In professional services, accuracy builds trust, so I take it seriously. 16. Tell me about a time you solved a problem. In a previous assignment, our team faced an issue where the information we received was incomplete and the deadline was close. Instead of waiting, I reviewed what was available, identified the missing parts, and prepared a list of specific questions. I contacted the relevant person and explained exactly what we needed. This saved time because the request was clear. Once we received the missing information, I helped organize it and complete the task. This experience taught me the value of clear communication and initiative. 17. How do you stay motivated during repetitive tasks? I stay motivated during repetitive tasks by focusing on the purpose behind the work. Even routine tasks can be important because they support accuracy, compliance, reporting, or client decisions. I also set small goals to keep myself productive and check my work carefully to avoid errors. If possible, I look for ways to make the process more efficient without reducing quality. I understand that in roles at PwC, not every task will be exciting, but every task must be done professionally. 18. How do you handle confidential information? I handle confidential information with care, responsibility, and professionalism. I understand that PwC works with sensitive client data, financial information, business strategies, and internal documents. I would only access information needed for my role and would not share it with unauthorized people. I would follow company policies, secure documents properly, and avoid discussing confidential matters in public places. Trust is a major part of professional services, so protecting client and company information is not optional. It is a serious responsibility. 19. What would you do if you disagreed with a team member? If I disagreed with a team member, I would handle it respectfully and professionally. I would first listen to their point of view because they may have information or experience I have not considered. Then I would explain my own perspective using facts, not personal opinions. If we still disagreed, I would focus on the best outcome for the project, rather than trying to prove myself right. If necessary, I would involve a senior team member for guidance. Teamwork requires respect and maturity. 20. How do you keep yourself updated professionally? I keep myself updated by reading business news, following industry trends, learning new tools, and improving my technical and professional skills. Depending on the role, I would also stay aware of updates in accounting standards, tax rules, regulations, technology, risk management, or consulting trends. I believe continuous learning is important because client needs and business environments change quickly. PwC is a learning-focused organization, so I would take advantage of training, feedback, and real project experience to keep improving. 21. Describe a time you had to learn something quickly. In a previous project, I had to learn a new software tool quickly because the team needed it for data organization. I started by watching tutorials, reading basic instructions, and practicing on sample data. Instead of trying to learn everything at once, I focused on the features needed for the project. I also asked a teammate for advice when I got stuck. Within a short time, I became comfortable enough to complete my part. This showed me that focused learning and practice can produce fast results. 22. How would you contribute to PwC's culture? I would contribute to PwC's culture by being collaborative, respectful, open to learning, and committed to quality. I believe a strong workplace culture depends on people who support each other, communicate honestly, and take responsibility for their work. I would bring a positive attitude, ask thoughtful questions, share ideas when useful, and help teammates when possible. I would also respect diversity and different working styles. PwC's culture values trust and teamwork, and I would do my part to strengthen that environment. 23. How do you handle unclear instructions? When instructions are unclear, I do not guess. I first review the information I have and identify exactly what is unclear. Then I ask specific questions to the person who assigned the task. I may also confirm the expected deadline, format, priority, and final outcome. This prevents mistakes and saves time later. If the task is urgent, I would explain what I understand and ask for quick confirmation. Clear communication is important because unclear instructions can lead to errors, delays, or rework. 24. What does professionalism mean to you? Professionalism means being reliable, respectful, ethical, and responsible in the workplace. It includes meeting deadlines, communicating clearly, respecting clients and colleagues, handling confidential information properly, and taking ownership of your work. Professionalism also means staying calm under pressure and maintaining quality even when the situation is challenging. For me, it is not only about appearance or language, it is about behavior and attitude. In a firm like PwC, professionalism is especially important because clients trust the firm with important business decisions. 25. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? In 5 years, I see myself as a skilled and trusted professional with strong experience in my field. I hope to have developed deeper technical knowledge, better client handling skills, and stronger leadership ability. I would like to take on more responsibility, support junior team members, and contribute to meaningful client projects. My goal is to grow steadily by learning from each experience and performing well. I believe PwC can provide the right environment for that growth because of its training, exposure, and professional standards. Preparing for a PwC interview means understanding both the company and the qualities it values. PwC looks for candidates who can think clearly, communicate professionally, work well in teams, manage deadlines, protect confidential information, and deliver high-quality work. The best answers should sound natural, honest, and connected to real workplace situations. Do not memorize every answer word for word. Instead, understand the meaning behind each response and adjust it to your own background, experience, and role. With the right preparation, you can enter your PwC interview with more confidence and a stronger chance of success.